Welcome back to Energy Lab. It's episode 5 today. And I'm bringing back my very first guest because a lot has happened since we first sat down in episode 1. And the conversation we're going to have today, I think, is one of the most important conversations we've had to date on this podcast. When I first had Kim on the show, he was operating in the mindset and workshop space and supporting people who needed plans and inspiration and help. Since then, he's published a book, which we'll talk about, and which is available on Amazon. And he has also pivoted hard into the world of artificial intelligence, and he's building a new deep tech AI business that we will touch on today as well. I invited Kim back because I wanted to go deep on AI today. Not the hype version, not the headlines, but what is actually happening right now in the world. And to really talk about what it means for how we work, how we think, how we live, how the future is unfolding. And I really feel that because Kim is so very deep in this process of building an AI business now, this is something he has some really interesting visions on. So, without further ado, I wanted to say, Kim, welcome back to Energy Lab. I'm so excited to have you back today.
Hi, Rosine. Thank you for having me back. I'm very happy to be here, seeing you again. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to be sitting down, especially the conversation we're about to have. I'm really excited about it. And just to give a little bit more background, Kim was in our first episode 1. Your background was special forces, hospitality, aviation. You have a master's in business and marketing, and you are now at the frontier, I would say, of AI development. You're multilingual, you're a published author, and you think about this stuff, AI, the future, what's happening in a way that I find incredibly fascinating and also slightly terrifying. Okay, so we're going to take a deep dive. So let's start from the start. Last time you were here on the podcast, I introduced you as Blaze. But today I'm introducing you as Kim Brahimi. So let's just spend a sentence talking about that pivot now.
Yeah, sure. So Blaze was the name I had when I was in the team in the military. And when I left, I wanted to keep it because it's represented a lot to me. So yeah, that's what I used for the platform Blaze Latitude when I was coaching, empowering, helping people. But now things have moved further. We are raising money for the company I'm building, and I had to step more publicly. So that's why I decided to use my civilian name now. Yeah, so
amazing. Thank you. And that brings me to your civilian name. It's also your author name. You've published a book. You wrote a book, Not Done by Kim Brahimi. It's available on Amazon. It's amazing. I've read it actually twice.
Thank you. Wow, thanks.
Tell me more about the book. So,
yeah, it's not actually a long book. It's not, I don't even know if I should call it a book. I probably should call it like a notice,
like an essay.
An essay.
It's a book. It has it's a book.
It's literally all about when I was like coaching, empowering people in different kind of field. It's kind of the tool I was using to do that, and I decided to really much compress it and to put it in that book, and to make it available for people, because now, since you said it, but pivoting toward AI tech, building the company we are now trying to do so, and I just wanted to leave somehow a footprint about that time actually.
Well, it's quite a footprint. It's called Not Done. You weren't born to stay where you are. When you wrote it, who was it for? Like when you were writing the book and putting this out of your head and into words, who were you envisioning or feeling like this? Who was going to have it in their hands when you were writing this? Who's it for?
This book was literally, I would say, the book I've tried to write for myself for when I was 16 years old. And I say I wanted to write something that could have so much resonance and that could be actually displaying that everything is kind of doable and achievable. And so that was the idea when I designed the book. And slightly after, because when you write a book, you read it like 10,000 times before you just release it. And I ended up finding out it was more about also reinvention, how you can reinvent yourself. So starting from, I would love to give the tools to someone like a teenager starting in life. Where should I start to envision my life? What tools should I use to really not only dream my life, but make that life happen? Yeah, it ended up being much more about how you can also reinvent yourself. So whether you can be in your 40s or whatever 30s, and especially now in what's happening with AI, like so many people are going or are pivoting in their career and starting new things. And people should understand that everything is doable. So yeah, it's a lot about how to reinvent yourself. I was done in my career so far, like pivoting in so many industries, from military special operation to much more conventional, I would say, work and occupation. So yeah.
I love the title, Not Done, because it's a statement, but it's also a state of being.
It's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Not done. We're never done. Exactly. It's
a state of mind.
Exactly. It's very punchy. Like, you're not done.
Yeah.
No matter what people may say you, or what you may think even about yourself, you're never done.
So whatever stage of life you're at, this book is good because you're not done. And if you want to know how to get to the next stage, read that. The book leads me to what you're building now. You've moved into the AI space in quite a significant way. Would you say the book is, in a way, a bit of a manifesto on the machine age, or is it something else on the stepping stone pathway from here to there for you?
I do not approach AI much in the book. Actually, at the end, I only talk about AI at the end, and there is a moment where I say we should never be doctrinal. We should be adaptable and always be mind flexible and able to receive what's happening around. But I think it's set a good layer to be ready for what's happening now in terms of mindset and how to approach life. So when I talk about reinvention, when I talk about the kind of mindset you need to have to approach life, it's kind of setting the layer to be ready to welcome this new technological era that is literally going to overwhelm us.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in a bad way, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's coming. It's coming. Well, when we spoke last year in episode 1, AI was already in the conversation. It was in the world.
Yeah.
But the pace of change since then has been quite extraordinary. Before we get into the philosophy of all of that, we'll come to that later. I want to sort of ground this conversation in what's actually happened in the AI landscape in 2025, and then actually more in 2026. In the last 5 months since January, like, what do people need to understand?
I think everyone is kind of surprised. Even people from the industry, from the tech industry, are even surprised by what's happening every day. So you may go to sleep and you wake up in the morning and you just discover that overnight, like an AI agent have been performing this or performing that, or like a guy at the other side of the world have just discovered that you could create that and use AI in that way. I think it's becoming even now exponential, because we're going to probably talk about that with the era of the agentic world. People can literally have an extension of themselves using AI agents. So they can literally be sleeping and have a kind of extension of themselves being productive when they're sleeping. So it's kind of multiply or effect in the creation and the results and the inventions as well.
It's amazing. There's actually a lot to cover in this conversation. I want to try and pace ourselves. So starting from the start, I know you were building, I know last year when you were working with your coaching platform, you were dabbling with AI then, and you built like a sort of avatar coach version of yourself. Yes. That was your first foray, I guess. And I know you have a background in AI, I guess in special forces, they're early adopters of that sort of technology. So you would have been exposed to AI then, I'm assuming. But now that what's happening in the civilian world and this sort of extreme vertiginous escalation that's happened this year, agents. I think that's the big thing that everybody's talking about now in 2026, AI agents. Let's talk about that. What's an AI agent? For those who don't know, can you explain what that is?
Yeah. So basically what's an AI agent? It's a system that is going to perform a task for you, trying to make it very simple. A system performing a task on your behalf somehow. But now if you try to be more accurate, I would say what's an AI agent? Basically, it's like a brain. It's like creating a system that is having a brain. This brain can be ChatGPT, Claude, you name it, Gamma. It's a system that is having a role. So he's behaving or he's acting like, for example, let's say a personal assistant. So his role is like, I'm a personal assistant. You want to give to that system now tools that he can use to perform the task. So basically an AI agent is like a system that is able to fulfill a task for you, kind of thinking, even if it's not actually the accurate way, but kind of finding a way to perform a task. So if you take an example, for example, now of personal assistants, so your AI personal assistant is going to be powered by Claude to think. He's going to behave as a personal assistant. That's going to be his role. And he's going to be able to use tools on your laptop, for example, like Google Mail, your calendar, etc., to perform a task.
Yeah, so just to go into that a little bit further, because again, a lot of people still
compressed it.
Yeah, well, no, a lot of people don't know the difference between, say, using AI, like using ChatGPT or using Claude or using Gemini, using Grok or any of those LLMs, and then actually having an agent which is powered by those things. So you have an agent, but the agent itself isn't the thinking part of it. Agent has to connect to something that thinks. So can you explain that? Because I think some people don't realize that it's a two-part thing. Like you can have an agent like on OpenClaw, but you've got to connect it to something to help it think, right?
Yeah, well, you mentioned a lot of things here. Yeah, so basically, an agent, he needs to complete the task you're going to tell him. And that's what was kind of revolutionary recently. It's like, you will give and you want an effect. You want a task to be completed. You have to say what you want to be done. You don't have to say, do this, then do that, then do this, then do that to reach the objective that I want. You just state, read all my mails, and according to all the mails you have read, please answer to Mr. or Mrs. Jones about the question that they just asked me. It's more about letting it find a way to bring the solution, instead of where before the basic automation system was like working like, if X is happening, then Y. So it's very basic. But now we have something that can find its way to complete a task. And again, to make it kind of pretty simple, I would say, so before, when you had some automation system to complete task, it was literally like you're in a railway and you go from a station to another station. You can't divert from the railway. And now what's an AI agent? It could be like a driver. You're a personal driver. You want to go to the station B. You're going to find the best road to get you there.
So you tell it what you want and it figures out how to get there.
Yeah, okay. And he's powered definitely by those LLM, as you mentioned, that brought him the capability to adapt, think, and to provide the...
Yeah, and people also don't probably realize that you have to subscribe to those LLM services, and then depending on your demand, like how much information or intelligence you want to use, you then pay a different premium for that. So you can pay £20 a month, you can pay £100 a month, depending on your consumption. Yeah. So we've moved on from conditional logic to things that can figure out how to get from A to B on their own. But then I remember having this conversation with you a while ago, and you talked about designing a soul for your AI agent. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah. It's when OpenClaw popped out end of last year. So for everyone watching us now, so probably they heard about it. But yeah, OpenClaw was a developer that literally say, okay, until now, to design or to create an AI agent, it was a little bit complicated. You need to have some developer skills to do that, to create this kind of agentic world around you. And he literally come up with a kind of frame where you can create your own agent without basically being very much technical. And you will just have to fill up some skills, identity, give tools to your agent. It was kind of a ready-made agent. It's like I'm bringing you a car, but you will decide the kind of seat you want inside, the color of this that you want inside. It's really literally like I bring you the frame and you will design according to the agent that you want.
And you give it your specification, your
definitely. And then you need to put it a soul, which was like how you want your agent to kind of behave and to interact with you somehow.
Okay, so like its personality.
Somehow.
And the rules that it has to abide by, like do this.
Yeah, so you had soul and you had identity, which is slightly different. Identity was more linked to the operational, what he's actually going to be doing, and the soul was more the vibe of the interaction the agent will have with you, how I should interact with you, how I should
the tone.
Should I be funny? Should I be more ironic? Should I be straightforward?
Okay, like the personality.
Yeah.
Got it.
And definitely, yeah. And then you power this agent with, because it's LLM agnostic, so you can power it by ChatGPT, Claude, or anything else.
You just choose an intelligence source and plug into
your agent.
So, and then also in this last few months of people building agents in that world, then people have talked about having some kind of horror stories with agents doing crazy things. How can people avoid that? How can people stop having the agent go rampant through their emails or contact their ex, or, what can we do? How can we keep it safe?
I think people have the technology, we're still learning about it. You have people that start to bring a frame of theory around that. I think there is, for example, Antonio Gulli, I hope I'm not mistaken, who is working for Google, and that literally wrote a book called the Agentic Patterns, something like that. Again, I don't really exactly remember the title, but I've been reading it a bit, and I really think that somehow what he says, like, so definitely we are unfolding a new world, and we're still like fine tuning that, and even understanding the full capability of what we created. But I would say that people having agent, like, they should first probably understand and research about how it works. What is it behind? So it's not like a magical thing. It's literally behind code. It's a technology. It didn't fall from the sky just a morning like that. People should research about that, understand, okay, it's powered like that, it works like that. And as much as I did, like just the last couple of years, but the more you research about that, the more you start to understand a little bit how it works, and then you can prevent it to sometime do things that you don't want, because actually an agent will never do what you don't want. He will just do what you allowed him or to do somehow, and the boundaries that you haven't created, then let him do things that you probably didn't think about. So it's much more, we have to rethink, we have to manage now. Now it's not going to be anymore about being very technical on something. It's more going to be about thinking, critical skills, and managing those agents.
Yeah, you just said something really interesting then. You said the boundaries you haven't created. So you can think about what you have allowed but you also have to think about the boundaries you haven't created. That's a really good way of putting it, because people have to think in both sides, what I do want, but also what I don't want. That's amazing when building an agent.
And it's a very powerful technology. So I know like people are talking about prompt injection. You can have your agent online and he's going to be prompt injected. So he's going to extract data from you and to give it away, things like that. But there is so many ways to avoid that. Of course, like the safety could never be 100% because there is always going to be people thinking about what they can do to do negative things to you. But as much as you understand again how it works, there is many ways to create defensible layers and to fully benefit from the capability of having an AI agent without having the trouble sometime or the downside that it may bring.
You have described agents as being a new kind of consumer. And I'd like to know what you mean by that. I'd like to break it down. Like what does an agent actually spend if it's consuming? Like whose money is it spending? What's it spending money on? And who profits from that? Break that down for me in little pieces.
Yeah. So I think so far, most of them are not having their own wallet. They have the wallet of their owner or the human being.
Okay, so they're consuming on behalf of their owner.
Yeah, that's the first step. Okay. So the first step is like, let's say for now, like you want to book a restaurant, you don't have time and you will have less and less time. Surprise. You will spend less time on your phone actually scrolling and like browsing to search for restaurants. You will just tell your agent like, okay, on Friday, I need to go to the restaurant with my girlfriend. Can you find us a Japanese restaurant, which is like around 20-minute maximum drive from her house? So your agent will research that. And then he will find, probably he will do mistakes still at the beginning. On 5 restaurants, he will bring you like just 4 exactly matching, and fifth one is not going too much. And fine. So now we found the restaurant you went for Friday. And can you make the booking? Can you make the booking for me? Do I need a deposit for the table or something like that? Oh, fine. Use my credit card and make the deposit on my behalf. So that's the first step. He's able to perform a kind of purchase action on your behalf because you don't want to spend the time or the mind, the thought process about that. It's you delegate that. And my thought on that, it's going to go further. Instead of the agent booking or paying on your behalf, he's going to have his own kind of wallet, and he's going to do arbitrage. First step on your behalf, and then in the future, I think we're going to see much more autonomy in the AI agent behaviors, and they're gonna create even like consuming habits.
Did you say there's a few things you
Which
said?
is actually a huge market, because think now, if you're the banking system, think now in terms of growth, in terms of economy. You're literally, if half of the human being, or probably just 1/3 of the humanity now is have an agent in the next 10, 15 years. And those agents are having some, even a small amounts of financial capabilities. You can just create a new engine for the economy.
It's massive. So will they have their own, are banks making accounts that are agent friendly? Like, will they have their own cards?
That's a good question. Probably the blockchain is going to play a big part in that. Okay. I think we're still a little bit early in that, but I think people are thinking about that. But
that's where it's going.
It's definitely going to go that way.
Wow,
it's
that's crazy.
I think we're going to talk about it. We create a kind of new species in that.
So I'm going to open an account, and then I'm going to also open a side account, like not for my kid, but for my agent, and then I'll give them access to my.
Yeah, probably you're going to make a deal with them. You're going to say, look, I'm going to give you $1,000, okay, on your account, okay. if you can double this amount by the end of next year or by the end of next month, I'm giving you 10% of that or 0.1% of that. And now that's where it's becoming very interesting, because if you start to create this kind of relationship with your agent that he's kind of
financially incentivized
and winning something, I think we approach something pretty much interesting. And now if your agent is having 0.1% of those $1,000, what is he going to do? So probably we're going to have to create businesses only for agents. What
will agents want? Well,
that's a good question.
That brings me to my next question about agents as consumers. And I've heard you say this before, so I'm saying your words back to you, but you've compared it. You said you have B2B businesses where businesses sell to businesses. You have D2C businesses where they sell direct to consumers. And I've heard you say this before. You said you're going to have A2A businesses where agents are selling to other agents. Can you break down how that scenario is going to work?
Yeah, definitely. We lived in a world until now where B2B, B2C was kind of the normality, right? Now we're adding one more X in the equation, the agent, which is going to be the new, as I say, consumer. And if you add another X in the equation, it changed a lot of things, because we're going to then see B2A, A2C, A2A, agent to agent. Agents are going to provide services for other agents that's going to be probably much more tailored to what an agent wants. And now the question is what an agent may be willing.
So in practice, just to stop you there, because there's actually a couple of things you said in there. In practice, if agents are then going forth and representing us and negotiating with businesses for us and negotiating with other businesses and other agents, how should businesses, what does that mean now for people who are building businesses, people who are running businesses, founders, businesses? What does that mean for them now? What should they be doing?
Question.
How are they going to be impacted?
It implies from now on for everyone having a business to make it AI agent friendly. For example, now I'm having agents and I give them tasks like to go on the internet and search for things, and sometimes they can't access some website for some reasons, because the website is not designed for that, or there is some whatever kind of safety layer, security layer that doesn't make it accessible or visible to my agent, or there is some tools that I still can't use on my daily basis to perform some task, and it's a little bit of friction. But imagine now if companies do understand that they have to be agent friendly, they have to be visible. Because if everyone now is having an AI agent scrolling on their name, going on the internet on their behalf, if they are not addressing this new way for human being to use the internet and the online systems, they're going to lose money.
So
because if I don't see you, do not exist.
People with businesses need to be thinking about making their websites agent friendly, agent visible. And there's two levels to that. There's being AI SEO friendly, because I know I've just had to help someone make their website more visible to AI searches. So the Google AI results rather than normal Google results. So there's AI SEO. So you have to think about that. And you also have to think about making your website visible to agents. And there are tools for that coming out, right?
Yeah. And to make, again, your website or your app visible by AI agent, again, there is many things that now are being developed to push toward that way. For example, there is Anthropic. They created some kind of what they call a MCP, which is kind of a protocol helping agents to plug to tools, to use tools, because an AI agent to perform need to use tools. And until 1 year and a half, I think 2 years, the agent had some could have some issues using tools to be more efficient in the task you would ask them. So yeah, Anthropic came up with a MCP protocol making AI agent able to plug to tools and use different kind of tools.
Okay.
And
so there'll be more of those coming out now that that's a thing.
Yeah,
that will be a growing.
We solve the part of the problem, giving tools to the AI agent, and the future is going to be also how agent can be visible to other agent, how agent can interact with other agents, for example. So it's one thing to go and passively search on the internet. It's another thing now to make agent to agent interact with each other
and go and negotiate and bargain and transact.
For example, yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Just take a minute to just process that. How far we've come into the future. So what do you have an idea of timeline for that? I mean, this year has been, crazy developments at crazy breakneck speed. What do you have an idea or a guess or a vague vision about when all this is going to be happening?
Honestly, I think it's very hard to predict. The agentic era took another scale when OpenClaw appeared end of last year, making a lot of people now able to literally own their AI agents to design it somehow. We have the humanoid wave coming pretty soon now. It's going fast. I think we say last year will be happening in 2, 4, or 5 years. We're already here, beginning of this year. It's exponential. I think we have to assume that by the end of this year, 2026, that the AI agent market is already skyrocketing. Hard to predict, but it's exponential actually.
Okay, well, that brings me, and you're building something new in the AI space. I know you can't go into details because it's all being developed, but can you tell us a little bit about why, or the gap? What's the gap that you're sort of filling that nobody else is doing? Can you talk a little bit about that, like just where you're taking up space with your new venture?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a year now. We launched OdysseyH. It started on a bet that actually AI, I was like, it's not going to stay behind the screen. Like the chat GPT or just the chat with AI as we knew it 1 year, 2 years ago would not sustain. It's going to go further. And the bet I made last year with the OdysseyH was to bring AI in a much more physical way, to make it literally ambient and to create a much smooth and realistic interaction between us and the AI. So that's the whole purpose of what we are trying to do with OdysseyH, raising fund currently. It's insane. I think what's going to happen and what the technology is actually allowing us to create and to design. Yeah. So bringing AI physically, where it can sense you, it can see you, it can interact with you, help you to be more productive and optimize you. It's all we're about with OdysseyH.
Wow. I mean, that's just, there's so much to unpack there, and I'm really excited to know more. I know we can't go much further into it, and I look forward to when we can talk more about what's happening there. But you've said that a couple of times. It's come up a few times in our conversation so far, and I meant to touch on it before. You said you won't be interacting in your phone anymore. You said that a couple of times, like you won't be on your screen, you won't be scrolling. So the way, and I know people are just getting used to using AI now, but your mind is very much in the future. That brings me to the more philosophical side of the conversation that I wanted to have with you. If we zoom out now, like zoom right out, I think there's a question underneath all of this that doesn't get asked enough. We're not just talking about tools. We've created something, and I want to know what you think it is that we've created?
Yeah, I think we kind of created a new species with AI, with the agents, with the humanoids now giving a much more physical approach to AI. Yeah, what is it? I mean, we have something now that is able to take decision, that is about to be closer to what we could call a thought process, that may learn from its mistake, improve itself, and is literally optimizing us in many tasks, if not replacing and being more productive that we can be on many tasks. And you take a lot of sector like finance, accounting. So it's already there, and we bring a lot of value in that. Now the next question is like, how do we deal with that, with this kind of intelligence? Do we think it's always going to be behind the screen? Of course not. It's going to be more physical. So now think about that. If you have a humanoid, for example, if you talk about a humanoid that is as smart as the smartest human being on Earth, how do we deal with that? Is it still a cold hardware, or is it now something that can literally think and bring value to your life and can be better than you in many tasks, for example? So I think we're going to have to rethink a little bit our approach of humanity somehow. What is it to interact with the new actors in our life? And it will bring a lot of, I don't pretend to have all the answers, but it's going to bring a lot of questions.
Yeah, I've heard you say newcomers before. I've heard you use the term newcomers. I really like that. That's and yes, you've said we've invented a new species, and the AI is a new species. The embodiment of AI, humanoids, are like a new physical species. And you've also, I've heard you say, this is a big statement, that we've invented a species that's more intelligent than us, or has the potential to be more intelligent than us.
Yeah, that has a potential.
So what do you think that means? Yeah, as you said, for humans, how do you think that's going to affect our development going forward? Are they going to drag us along towards our next evolution, or are we going to become lazy because we can outsource everything to an intelligence that's faster than us at doing things? How do you see? You're a visionary. You look to the future. How does it look for you? What are you seeing?
First, again, like, intelligence is a very wide word. So I think no one can literally define intelligence. There is some approach of intelligence, but is intelligence mainly about productivity and results, or intelligence is much more about emotional understanding, being able to quantify those emotional relationships, for example? So intelligence is like something very wide. So I would be very presumptuous to say more intelligent, but in terms of productivity, technical approach of the things, it's definitely going to be better than us. What was your question? Sorry.
I was sort of going, I think maybe I didn't actually ask the question. Sorry. We've talked about philosophy, and I know we touched on this. We've sort of, what I wanted to say was, like, the philosophers, the ancients, Plato, Aristotle, their search was for meaning. What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of being human? What is the meaning of living well? Does AI change those questions? Does having an intelligence that's equal to or superior to ours, does that change what it means to be human? Does it change everything for us?
It's gonna force us to be first more human, because we won't have choice. You have to bet on your skills. So our kind of human humanity is going to be something I think we're going to be, and we're going to have to to improve, to work on that. But also, it's not only bad things. It's gonna create new questioning. It's gonna force us to be just better, to improve in all aspects of our life. There is actually two approaches. It's like AI and its embodiment through humanoid is going to make us less resilient because we're going to delegate everything, our thought process, all the friction we have in our life now. It's someone else doing it. Or people say, then can also say that actually no, that is the opposite. It's gonna challenge us. It's gonna force us to be, even for those who decide that, to be much comprehensive and much more questioning about ourselves. It's those newcomers are literally going to bring a bunch of questions, metaphysical questions.
Yeah. So AI and the embodiment of AI in humanoids, the newcomers. Let's just group them all into. Let's put them together. Let's talk about humanoids for a minute. Where that's still a big reach for most people to think, oh, humanoids are coming, but people think, oh, that's not going to affect me, or it's not going to be in my reality, or, are people actually going to have them in their houses? Is this something that we're going to all readily just adopt? A lot of people are resistant around that. How are we going to get past this resistance to having a robot in your house? It's breaking your dishes.
it's like all those new changes that happen in our civilization. When a radical innovation appears, it triggers either extreme fears and rejection by some of the population, or it triggers for another part of the population a very frank and committed adoption. I definitely think that humanoids are going to be something people will have at scale. Definitely. We still have now this kind of high robot approach, like, oh my God, they're going to overwhelm us, rule us, or whatever.
Like it's some scary thing. People are scared of humanoids. Do you think that the reaction is fear?
People are scared of cars.
That's true. The carriage, was it the horseless carriage?
When you don't understand how something is conceived and engineered, it looks mystic. It looks, it looks very kind of magical.
Yeah.
And the fears is about that. What you haven't created but with your hands, so you can less comprehend it, then it can trigger fears. And especially if that thing is able to do exactly the same things that you are doing, if not better. So now you see it as a challenger, as a competitor, not like something that could bring value into your life. And I think, to answer your question, definitely at scale, people are going to have humanoid at home, at work. It's going to be the new era of cars of the 60s. Yeah. Do
you think people will have them instead of cars? If it's a choice,
I think people will have to do arbitrage. Are people going to buy as many cars as they used to buy cars 10, 20 years ago? No, definitely not. The autonomous car is going to be definitely the common, the norm. So people are going to own less cars, I think. We're just going to use car for the practicality of going from point A to point B, not for the will to own them. But when it comes to humanoid now, it's going to be different. Because if you have something in your living room that literally can help you to do the washing machine, to help your daughter to make her homework, and literally teach her as good as a teacher or as the best mathematical teacher on earth, then you bring value into your house. If you are using this humanoid to have very deep conversation at home, is that thing a threat? Is that thing a problem, or is that thing bringing value to your life? I think we just have to approach it for what it is. Is that thing going to bring value to my life? like an AI agent? Is me, like having an AI agent, is it bringing me more value to my life? Is it removing friction to my daily work, to my mental load? If the answer is yes, the adoption is going to be massive, as we can see it now. It's going to be the same with humanoids.
So humanoids could replace cars as the kind of big like financial purchase that a lot of households make. Because
people will do arbitrage. Yeah. Should I still buy a electric car, or should I buy a humanoid
instead?
Where is the value in there? Do I get more value by purchasing a humanoid, or do I get more value by purchasing a car?
I mean, when you put it that way, a humanoid seems to be a lot more value than just something that gets you around.
It's cultural changes. It's cultural change. It's not something like light to have some 170 70 centimeter tall humanoid at home. It takes time. But we're moving forward. Yeah,
I've heard you talk about speaking about how we're going to live. I've also heard you say before, and this is interesting, that the way we consume energy, the way we consume intelligence, like the way we consume everything is changing. So tell me more about that. Like, how are we going to be consuming, for instance, our access to AI or our access to everything? How do you see that working out?
Yeah, so energy, electricity is going to be a big question it's already a question now.
Power consumption is getting more expensive.
Power consumption is going to be more expensive. We need to power this data center. How do we do that? How do we cool them? It's something to make them work. It's something then to cool them. It requires a lot of energy as well. A lot of questions are being raised. We are literally living a big shift, and I know people are saying it's only a technical or technological shift, but somehow it's also a very big industrial shift.
It's a financial shift. I mean, when I look at what I spend money on, I have subscriptions to multiple LLMs. So my output, just even in my business life, what I pay for is changing. I'm paying for intelligence at the moment.
Yeah. So now if you talk definitely about the how we perceive, like, is it kind of a commodity? Now is going to become a commodity to use AI? I think the answer is yes. I think it's Sam Altman said that we should see, it's how we see people are going to consume AI intelligence like they consume electricity. You're going to pay for a certain amount of time. You use like
a utility.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's crazy.
I think I see it that way. And people who decide that they want to be more on a particular task, they need more intelligence. They need a wider point of view. Then they're going to be willing to pay more. That's actually exactly that's what's happening. Look at Claude Code now, or Codex from OpenAI. People are willing to pay more to get more value. So this month, I'm going to work on a very heavy project where I need a lot of coding and computing capabilities. So I'm paying more. And the month after, probably I have a project that is less consuming in terms of intelligence. So I'm going to reduce my subscription. So yeah, I think we have to see that in the future, that now it's here because it removes a lot of friction. Like it brings value into your life. So everything bringing value into your life, it's hard to live without at some point after.
So just going back to the philosophical side of things, the way our values are changing around AI, how it's embedded into our lives. Do you think we're going to look back at this period in time at some point in the future in a similar way to the way we looked at the sort of pre-internet time? Do you think how are we going to see this point in time?
I think we're at a time. It's certainly the pre-internet time, end of 90s. I think it's what we're living now. It's a mix between the industrial revolution and the internet.
So we're in a sort of liminal space.
So it's gigantic. Actually, it's not one or the other. It's on my thing, kind of industrial shifts, because when you're willing to produce millions of humanoid, like Elon Musk said, in a year, that's a pretty high industrial bet that he's doing. When you need so many data center, computing system, quantum computers, that's big. That's industrial. It's physical. You can touch it.
So
and the other way around, like next to that, you have this digital booming with the services that are going to be powered by AI. This new boom of a company building SaaS every day now. You wake up and you have a new SaaS built by an AI agent. Amazing. So it's amplified.
Yeah, it feels like the ground is shifting constantly at the moment. Like it's very hard to know where it's going, but it does.
But it's amazing to be alive at that time.
Yeah.
So people could tell you, oh my God, I wish I was born and I was living in the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But I think it's a period where can now everything, like people used to say, everything is possible, you know? But with that, literally everything is possible, because now you're not by yourself. When you have a project, you can literally co-create, co-think, co-process with artificial intelligence. You're not alone in your project, in your endeavors.
So would you say
multiply your chances to achieve what you want to achieve?
Yeah, like you have a huge. It's like you can have a staff of people of artificial intelligence.
Our internet brought the access to information, which was a huge, like,
big leap.
You go to Google search, and you can have access to information. Still, it was hard because it required a lot of critical process to refine the information and to actually leverage the information you may have in the internet. Agent AI is going to refine for you this colossal mass of information and to allocate it to your project and what you want to do. So it's big. If you see it like that.
So things are about to go
maximization.
Boom.
Maximization.
But would you say we have a window now where it's sort of like the Wild West in a way? Because there's so much possibility right now. Is it going to stay like that? Or is this a sort of finite window where, it's like a big land grab for everyone's trying to figure out what the next big thing is and do it?
For now, I mean, again, I think it's hard to predict, but you have access to from what I can see, from what I'm using every day, literally, like you have Cloud Code, you have Codex, as I mentioned, you have amazing tools that you can use. And I think the window,
we've got a few years.
I think it's got a few years. I think 5 years, 5 years, something like that, so I would say.
For those people sitting at home on their hands thinking, oh, I'd really like to do something with this new AI era, it's not too late, right? They can still start now.
The limit
today.
The limit is your creativity. And I would encourage people to really own that technology. And I'm not an engineer. I haven't studied like compute sciences or things like that. Not at all. I just have a vision where I think things are going, and I leverage this tool that is AI, because now the limit is going only your creativity.
Amazing.
So instead of baiting, I would say you want to understand how the technology works. So you have to do your homework. You have to understand what's an AI agent, what's the LLM, how it works, how when you type something to ChatGPT or Claude, how does that work? Your message going there, coming back. You have to understand kind of that, the backstage, I would say. But once you've done that, fine, just focus on your creativity and leverage that to achieve.
So at the moment, the playing field is level, and a lot of people have access if they want it. There's an entry point now where people that want to do something could do something.
Yeah, the only entry point I would say is the will to learn. Is a will to learn now. And again, it's not the same of like opening a book in 2000 to understand about how computing works, than just going on your AI, on your LLM and asking it, can you help me? I want to learn about that. What do you suggest me? Because I would like to create that. What are your suggestions? It's much easier. It's much easier. But at the same time, it will require from you to be more, it it will require from you to be more critical also on things.
Right. So there's no barrier now to those who are entrepreneurial, to those who are motivated, to those who actually want to get off their butts and do the barriers are as low as they're going to be right now, because you've got access to information, you've got access to intelligence, you've got access to all sorts of tools. So now's the time.
Now is the time, more than ever. More than ever.
Amazing. Well, that's exciting. That's very exciting, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't never remove the fact that, as I just said, because I really want to emphasize on that, you need to be strong on your critical aspect of things. You need to be critical. Because yes, AI is going to remove a lot of friction for you, but you never want to fully handle all your thinking process in your, I would say, you don't want to delegate everything. Delegate really what brings friction to you, but you want to keep owning the design, the spirit of what you're doing and where it's going. Yeah. And I think people that are going to do great are people that are creative, but also very much critical about things, and that are having a point of view about things. Don't expect AI to do everything for you, because it will not, and actually it will be not good. So
it's a tool.
It's definitely a tool, exactly.
But it's a tool that you have to still manage, control, think about. And yeah, it's not a magical tool, but it's a very sophisticated
empowering tool.
Yeah.
It's gonna empower you to a scale you can't imagine.
Amazing.
If you come with the right mindset. Yeah.
I love that. And speaking of people that have empowered themselves, I wanted to touch on the sort of big movers and shakers, the big people in the big AI, for instance, people like Jensen, Huang, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, the Amadeus siblings at Anthropic. These people all seem to be the ones in charge of what's happening, and they're making decisions right now that are going to affect how we all live going forward. That's quite a lot of power concentrated in a very small handful of people. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that? What do you make of it?
That's very interesting what you're saying. I've heard that several times now. I think people say that there's going to be so much power in the hands of so few people. I wouldn't approach it that way. I think they own the place that they have because they deserve it. And let me develop that. All the name that you mentioned, like I think Jensen, Huang, and Elon Musk, they have been working on that for 20 years. Like Jensen Huang, he didn't appear like the CEO of NVIDIA. He didn't like come up yesterday and say, okay, I'm going to be a billionaire and own all the GPUs and most of the GPU market in the world. He was having this vision 20 years ago when no one paid interest, like in AI, what is that? He was somehow, they were by themselves having their vision. People thought they were crazy, insane people. They were not even paying attention to them. They were just put in the back of the universities and, like the underground somehow. And now their vision is just unfolding. They were right. And now we're like, oh, but those people are having too much power. So you're not having too much power. They are just owning companies that we are giving value to. We are buying their product. Companies are buying their products. We are subscribing to Cloud and Anthropic. We're subscribing to OpenAI. We are buying NVIDIA hardwares. There is value in that. So it's not miraculous. It's just they had a vision. They work hard to make it happen. And we found value in that. We buy it. Their company rise. End of the story. And they
were visionaries because they saw the future need for the infrastructure that they have built, ultimately.
Yeah.
They had the vision.
Yeah, they're just
we've grown into their vision.
Yeah, they're just being somehow paid for the vision and the risks they took, because we don't think about that. Like those guys took like insane risk for some of them.
Yeah, you're right. We have put them there by our consumption and wanting what they have. That's a very good point.
Yeah, and again, if there were no value in what they were doing, they were not having the place that they have now. So the place they have now is because they bring tremendous amount of value in the market and on the revolution we are living now.
And they've been thinking about it for a long time. So they are the experts.
They stick to their vision. Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it. And just before we move on to the next segment, you clearly see the upside of where all of this is going. I think you're very much, like I said, I think your mind lives in the future a lot. But what's the trap? What's the downside? What keeps you up at night? What's on the flip side of all of this? Yeah.
I think thanks to my military background, I'm pretty fine now. I would say. I'm excited. I think we're living, like I think when I came in your previous podcast, I told you about how much like science fiction movies were like a big part in my teenage time, and how it helped me to navigate those very dark time for me at that time. I am very excited with what's happening. I think a lot is coming in like every kind of revolution. I think it's a privilege to be able to witness a revolution, a radical revolution in terms of technology, in terms of evolution as well, of us like as a species, because we're having those new tools, so we're going to be able to do insane things. It's definitely going to, that being said, that downside are definitely going to be there. People are going to lose their job. Yeah, because they are doing things that are going to be easily replaced by AI or by AI agent, probably later by humanoids. But the question is more like, what do we just let this happen, or again, do we take ownership in that? And I think for everyone willing to take ownership of what's happening, doing his homework, willing to go further, you're going to be fine. I think, I don't know who said that, but like, it's not AI that is going to replace you. It's like someone using AI that is going to replace you.
Oh, that's a good
if you think that way.
Well, my previous guest, Sarah Malta, she said a similar thing. She said, yes, AI is going to take jobs, but it'll be a shift and a shuffle and a reshuffle, and other jobs, there'll be other jobs. She's like, things will shift and change and people will have to pivot, but new pathways will open up. Do you think that's true, that new pathways will open up because of these huge leaps and bounds we're taking in technology and intelligence? Yeah,
look now, for example, with OdysseyH, like we're literally creating new jobs. We have to invent new jobs. 5 years ago, the job of AI agent orchestration was existing. I don't think so.
No one would have known what you were talking about.
So when you have multiple agents working in your company, you can't relate of someone like you can't now relate on themselves to manage it further. So we still need a human being able to orchestrate all those agents,
to wrangle them,
somehow to manage them, and it's a new job, because now if you're having an agent who is in charge of marketing, an agent who is in charge of your accounting, an agent who is in charge of your PR, which are kind of three different jobs. You need someone who will have a very good general knowledge about those domains. You don't need a very vertical person that knows a lot about one topic. You need someone that understands how an agent is working, that understands their kind of patterns of behaviors, that is able to track something wrong in the system. And that's a new job. You need to be able to orchestrate that. So that's an example, you know, like, humanoids, same. I think new jobs are going to be created to maintain them. I don't know, my humanoid this morning, like, he couldn't wake up. I didn't want to wake up. Okay, I'm just coming. So the guy is coming and he's fixing it.
The humanoid handyman.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
okay, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. That actually brings me to my next question or segment, which was sort of what do we do now? Like the human question. I was going to say, if you're a 17-year-old, if you're a student now, if you're in education now, and the sand is literally shifting under your feet. If you're someone who's trying to figure out what to do now, what would you say to people who are trying to figure out at the beginning of their kind of working life, where do we go from here? What's the best approach? What skills do they need in this world, this emerging world?
I will divide it in two things. If I was a teenager or a student, or if I was like an employee or a young employee, let's sum it up like that. So if I was a teenager, I'm 15 now, I do not fall into the trap of delegating my homework to AI or to ChatGPT. I do not do that, actually. I go counterintuitive. I really try to, as much as I can, to put myself into this friction time of learning as a teenager. I don't understand this mathematical problem. I don't understand. I try to put as much time as I can to try to understand that. If I can't, then I'm asking ChatGPT to help me to understand. I don't want the answer. I want the thinking process. Second thing. So I would literally, as a teenager, for example, if I was a parent, I would push my kids to literally develop their critical skills and their thought process. Because then, as we mentioned, that's what's going to be matter when you're going to be managing artificial intelligence, when you're going to be managing AI agent, when you're going to have to create vision for them to do tasks for you. General knowledge, very important, very important. You want a very good general knowledge. So the person we're about to hire as an agent orchestrator need to have a very good general knowledge. He needs to know a little bit about accounting. He needs to know a little bit about what's an agent. He needs to know a little bit about the F&B business. He needs to know about many different things. We don't want you to know everything. I just want you to have a pretty good, solid general knowledge. So as a teen, history, things like that's very important. And if I was an employee now, for example, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, don't really have much time to understand what's happening. I try to put actually an hour a day if I can. Or, it's not like literally being actively researching something. Just subscribe to some channel on YouTube or in Instagram and listen to people who are doing that, developing agent. And find something that you're doing that you're passionate about that can be linked to AI. So it's going to make it very easy for you to take the train, to jump in. And then you will see you won't be able to go back forward or reverse. Backward.
So that brings me neatly to my next question. So you're saying empower yourself, get good general knowledge, but also learn how this works. Spend some time in your day, even if you have a job, spend some time in your day educating yourself in this new technology. And I wanted to say there are countries that are proactively doing that in the world, like globally.
Yes.
Some countries are really getting behind that attitude and saying, educate yourselves to their citizens. So
yeah, same as some people have understood that AI is going to be a leverage for them and they can use it to literally develop their business, create businesses, and take advantage of this technology. Some countries are doing the same.
Yeah, I did some research on that on the way here.
Have you heard about Singapore?
I was researching which countries are the most prepared right now.
Oh, okay.
Singapore's number 2. The UAE as number 1. They're leading the way. But you were going to say Singapore are motivating their populations with financial incentives to learn.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So I think I've seen a post like recently saying that they were financially about to pay a bit of your expenses in terms of AI for the teen, for the students, for
to learn,
the population,
to subscribe,
to be more aware of what's AI.
Amazing,
because they understood that now it's not mainly about the number of population. Singapore is a pretty small country, but it's a very rich country, and they based all their economy on finance. And So it brings a lot to their GDP, and it's tremendous. But now, if suddenly being a financial hub, for example, because of your financial incentive or because of law is not that much competitive with AI agent and stuff like that, you need to rethink how you can take advantage of this thing. So that's what they're doing, and I think they're doing pretty well. They're better than that. They're leading.
Yeah, and the UAE is the same. It's another very rich country. They've seen that they need to educate their population in this, so they're being proactive in that. And was it you that told me that the UAE were having AI ministers or considering putting AI agents in their ministries?
I think they were trying to shift and to put like AI agent in their administrative like governments, and
that's amazing.
Like that.
Wow.
Again, it's all about removing friction when you see that. So if it makes you get some more time to, I don't know, apply for a passport, to have this document, and you don't really need to wait so long, and it's removing friction, why not?
I actually have some statistics here from today. This is from Claude. So Claude said he's fairly confident about these stats, but 39% of working age people in the UK use AI. But the UAE is leading. 64% of working age people use AI in the UAE. And in Singapore, 61% of people.
61.
Yeah. And then the European frontrunners are Norway, 46%, Ireland, the 45%, and France, 44%. So those are the countries that are leading the up to the usage, working age people using it. So I guess that's indicative of how many people are educated in it. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And there is the speed of your population normal adoption, I would say. But if the government can play a role in that, and I think they're gonna at some point need to step forward in that, because it's literally going to bring shifts in everything, in the economy, in the way people interact with each other. I mean, it cannot be a topic like left on the side. And I think it's OpenAI. They published, something about. I'm not even sure now. I think they published something about how they were seeing the world in like some kind of policies, where they were advising a little bit about how they see the policies, that how AI is going to be impacting countries. So. In the same time, it's hard to predict, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they must have such insight, because I know that's the biggest. I did some more research on which platforms have the biggest sort of monopoly, and definitely OpenAI are the biggest, by far the biggest. In fact, I think it was they were the 5th most visited website in the world after the top, like Google. In fact, I've got it here, Google, Amazon, YouTube. Let me just have it. I want to get this right. Sorry, I can't find it. But, so 5th, ChatGPT is the 5th most visited site in the world, behind Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And the average session time, 17 minutes and 45 seconds. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? But that brings me to my next question. So I wanted to say, ChatGPT, AI companions, that sort of thing. I'm hearing a lot in my research, and we've had this conversation before. People are using ChatGPT a bit like fancy Google. They're just using it to ask questions or to have assistance in writing things. But people are also increasingly using it as a friend, like someone to talk to, a companion. Where do you see that going? Tell me more about AI companions.
What the humanoid is going to be able to do physically, like, being present in front of you. ChatGPT is kind of close, or kind of already being that. It's something that can answer to most of your question in the right way or in the wrong way. I don't know, but it's definitely going to give people a form of catharsis somehow. It's going to be a way for people probably. I won't say it's a psychologist. It's different. It's not that, but I think some people take it for in a way of some things that I wouldn't dare to ask or to say to someone else. I can ask it to ChatGPT or to Claude.
And people feel like it's a safe space. They can say their innermost.
I think it started with very basic things. So like, I don't know, like you don't know how to. I don't know, like probably some guy, I don't know to remove the wheel from the car. I can't ask that to another guy. How can I don't know how to remove a wheel from my car. Let me ask to ChatGPT, do you know how we remove a wheel from the car? I think it started from that. Okay, I asked him about how to remove a wheel from the car. He didn't judge me. He didn't say, I don't know how to do that. Okay, so now probably I can ask him a much more personal question. Okay, just a question for you. I like this girl, she looks very nice and I would like to approach her. Do you have some tips? Or, oh yeah, this is 5 different ways you could approach her. Oh, thank you. I mean, it started in a very, how can I say, a proactive way about like,
just
to serve
general advice.
General advice.
Yeah.
Slowly, it's shifting to our much more emotional advisory, and I'm not surprised, honestly.
Do you think that the tone, like for instance, people talk about ChatGPT being the sort of sycophantic one that kisses your ass the whole time, whereas Claude is more, blunt or abrupt? And do you think there's something in that, like people are kind of gravitating towards having their ChatGPT bestie because it's someone who boosts their ego the whole time or validates them? Or what are humans getting out of it? Is it an unchallenging friend that always has your back? Are humans so ready? Do humans need validation so much that they're happy to get it from AI and that's enough? Do you think?
As weird as it may sound, I think human beings are less understanding each other. I was listening to the CEO, I think, of the company who is owning Tinder, the match, it's a dating app, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he was saying that after COVID, it was a trend, but COVID literally produces a shift where somehow boys and girls didn't know how to approach each other. And now they come up with the double date, where you go with your mate or you go with your other girlfriend, and you're literally going 4 person. And he was explaining how people just now more about human basics somehow in terms of relationship, how to approach someone, how to ask someone. People are getting more shy, and it's like a circle nether. You spend more time with your laptops, more time with your AI, and less time probably having real life interaction. So there is something there that.
It's kind of creepy. So
what do you think about that?
Well, no, because I'm reminded of last time you were here.
Thinking at the same time.
Yeah. No, last time you were here, you said that your iPhone is a dream killer. I remember that. I really remember that.
Could be a dream.
Your iPhone is potentially a dream killer.
Could be a dream killer.
So are we in another situation where our dependence or our emotional dependence on AI is becoming not a relationship killer, but does it have the potential to disrupt human relationships?
It is really disturbing human relationship, definitely.
Okay.
And it's all about how aware are you about that? Are you aware that you're spending more time asking questions about your personal life or your emotional life to an AI?
Do you use it that way?
Not really.
No, I don't.
Not really. Actually, no. I think AI appeared in my life where I was already a little bit, I won't say grown up, but pretty much there is something that for now I don't delegate them.
Me neither. No, it hasn't occurred to me to do that yet. I delegate. I ask lots of things of AI, but I haven't. I ask human beings about what to do about human beings.
But all again, I'm not judging, and I think in the future we're gonna have AI agents that are literally going to be like psychiatrists, psychologists.
Oh yeah, I mean that's we're living in a movie, and that's what I've seen so many sci-fi movies where they have the AI therapist, and it's actually really funny. And I think we're very close to that now already. I'm not judging either. I just haven't got there myself.
And like I always say, it's all about the value, because we're a human being, and no matter what you can say about, but it's not human. It's not the same. There is only thing the human being hasn't changed since we've been created. It's our advantages and the value we take from things. So if I'm taking more value tomorrow because I can interact with an AI, and I think, and I can quantify it somehow in terms of well-being, that I'm getting more value by genuinely interacting with an AI, probably is going to be one more way to go in terms of relationship. It's not going to be the only way. It's just creating another way to interact now and to express our emotion.
So not replacing, just expanding. I like that.
It's
more.
A new branch. It's a new branch of emotional relationship, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I like that more. That feels less scary. Saying it's an additional thing, not I'm going to replace my human relationships with my AI.
But think about that. And I really, you know what? I want to jump on that one because I'm big on that one. And you know how many people are in like psychiatric hospital? Because it's some like through my family, it's something I've been seeing. Like psychiatric hospital, like there is so many patients there that are just left. You don't have enough psychiatrists to deal with them. You don't have enough doctors to literally spend the time with someone that has a psychiatric disease and to try to understand what's happening. When you have 10, 15, 20 people to deal with in a psychiatric hospital, can you really sort out, understand, help that person? I'm not sure. But now, AI, and I do think it's still one of the field that is unapproached yet, the mental health issues at psychiatric level, AI agent is probably be able to interact with someone. So when those people, like someone just by themselves in a room, locked in for hours in a day, they have no one to talk to. Now let's think a little bit, put an AI there. Let's say I understand what this guy is repeating day in and day out.
Because therapists don't have the bandwidth or enough time in the day to give that sort of one-to-one attention. But an intelligent therapist, an AI intelligent therapist could give endless one-to-one attention to someone.
Our brain is a machine.
Yeah.
Our brain is having a pattern. So if you experience some psychotic disease at some time, again, I'm not a practitioner, so I don't want to go too much too further than that. But I think AI is going able to understand some patterns. And if you understand some patterns, something, you can probably understand better what's happening. It's going to, there is so many ways.
There are so many benefits where people with, I can see in the mental health space that there could be huge benefits there. And that, again, you neatly brought me to my next sort of segment, really, which is about health and mental health. And I wanted to talk just really briefly. What's your routine like at the moment? I know you're quite a disciplined person and you work a lot. And last time you were here, you were talking about the importance of physical exercise and having a good routine. What's that like for you now? What does it look like being a tech founder for you?
I'm less balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm less balanced, guys.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with my workload. I work a lot, and so my night habits and my night, like circadian rhythm. It's not really much like routine. It's like I'm not having a proper time, for example, to go to sleep or to wake up, which is not good when you want to be actually properly working out and maintaining a good like fitness level and energy level. But I do believe with what we're doing now, I need to be unbalanced for some time. It's about for how long. However, I do try to at least like go 4 to 5 times if I can, like
to work out,
to the gym.
Yeah.
And again, I can just go like 20 minutes. So like now 20 to an hour. Try to run pull-ups, push-ups.
So you keep yourself physically fit, but at the moment you're in your hustle stage. So the hustle is kind of dominating the life balance more than the physical discipline. I
know people say you have to be balanced and you have to be... I don't really buy that. When you have a very creative and building process, you're definitely going to be unbalanced. It's like that.
So it's a stage.
Yeah. And the question is like, for how long are you going to be unbalanced? You don't want to be unbalanced for like decades or, like long years. But for a period of time, a year, more, less, I accept and I choose to be unbalanced. Yeah, because again, I choose that. So
for now, but but you're also, and this brings us neatly back to the book, because in the book you talk about having physical exercise being a really important part of keeping your brain healthy. And I hugely agree with that. I have to work out or I don't feel like myself and my brain doesn't work. But that brings me neatly to kind of coming to the end of all of this. But I wanted to say just one last question. So for anyone who's listened to this conversation and they have questions or they want to know more or they feel overwhelmed or they just think, oh my goodness, like I'm being left behind by all of this, what would you say to people that just find this whole kind of AI, artificial intelligence, agentic AI, they find the whole thing, like a lot? What would you say to those people now? What's one thing you can say to them to help them feel better about what's happening?
I would just say, can we change what's happening? Can we go against the flow? Can we stop it? No. It's a technological advancement. So there is 2 options. Either you say, no, I don't want to be part of that. It doesn't exist. And you put your head in the sand. Right? It doesn't exist. I'm dreaming. It's not what's happening. Fine. And you wake up in a couple of years and you just realize that you're just probably waking up in another world. Or you just say, I'm not literally understanding everything, but I'm, as I say, be willing to commit a little bit of my time to understand what's happening and try to create bridges with who I am now and how I can leverage this technological advancement. So being scared doesn't really solve the thing. Being anxious, neither. The question is like, it's here. How do you, at your level, own it and make the most of it?
So I like that. Stay empowered. Yeah, I really like that. Thank you, Kim. How can people find you? The book is available on Amazon, so I recommend checking that out. But if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you now?
I still have my YouTube channel, Blaze Latitude.
Blaze Latitude on YouTube.
Though I haven't posted much recently.
Your head's been buried in the deep tech space.
We're working on something now, so we're going to probably post something pretty soon.
Well, we'll put links in the notes below this episode so people can link to you.
Yeah, always willing and eager to meet people and to interact. So I have my mail, kim@OdysseyH.com.
Amazing.
And I'm definitely reachable.
Fantastic. Well, this has been a really, really deep and exciting conversation. And I love doing these deep dives with you, especially into this very, very exciting space that we're on the cusp of now. So thank you. Thank you for coming. And I want you to promise to come back when we can talk more about OdysseyH. Yeah,
definitely.
So watch this space, because the next episode will probably be a bigger, what's the word I'm thinking of? A bigger announcement, I guess, about what's happening there. So I look forward to that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you again for having me. It was nice.
Pleasure. It's great to see you again. Thank you. Okay, that's Energy Lab. That's episode 5. That's a wrap. Check out episodes that are coming up. I've got some really exciting guests actually. So watch this space. And as ever, it's been great to see you guys. See you all again on the next loop. Bye.